At 17, Taylor Swift had to make a choice. Her debut album was taking off, touring opportunities were coming in, but she was still a high school senior. Her friends were planning prom, talking about graduation, making senior year memories. Taylor could stay in school, have the normal teenage experience everyone dreams about, or she could go all in on her career, give up every milestone, trade her senior year for tour buses and stages. She chose her career, and for the rest of her life, she'd wonder if she made the right call. It was fall of 2006, and Taylor Swift was starting her senior year of high school at Hendersonville High School in Tennessee. She'd moved from Pennsylvania to Nashville when she was 14 to pursue her music career, and now, 3 years later, things were finally taking off. Her debut album had come out in October 2006. She was 16 when it released, and it was doing better than anyone expected. Tim McGraw was climbing the country charts. Radio stations were playing her music. People were buying the album. She was getting recognized at school. But she was also still a high school student, still going to classes every day, still doing homework, still eating lunch in the cafeteria with friends, still living a relatively normal teenage life. Senior year was supposed to be special. It's the year you're supposed to enjoy, the last year before adulthood, before everyone goes their separate ways. Senior week, prom, graduation, all the milestones that make high school memorable. Taylor's friends were excited. They were planning what they'd wear to prom, who they'd ask or hoped would ask them. They were talking about graduation parties, about college, about what came next. They were living the normal senior year experience. But Taylor was getting offers, performance opportunities, tour dates, radio station visits, promotional appearances. Her label wanted her out there, performing, building momentum, capitalizing on the album's success. The problem was that you can't do both. You can't be a full-time high school student and a full-time touring musician, not if you want to do either one well. So Taylor had to choose. She talked to her parents about it. Andrea and Scott Swift had already sacrificed a lot for Taylor's career, moving from Pennsylvania, supporting her through years of rejection, believing in her when nobody else did. Now they had to help her make the biggest decision of her young life. Stay in school, have a normal senior year, graduate with her friends. Or switch to homeschool, free up her time, tour full-time, go all in on the career. Her parents didn't push her either way. They knew this had to be her decision, but they also knew what was at stake. If Taylor stayed in traditional school, she might miss opportunities that would never come again. But if she left, she'd miss experiences she'd never get back. At 17 years old, Taylor made her choice. She was switching to homeschool. She was giving up her senior year. She was choosing her career over the normal teenage experience. Her friends were supportive, at least on the surface. "That's so cool you're touring," they'd say. "You're going to be famous." But there was also a distance that started forming, because Taylor was making a choice that set her apart. She wasn't going to be around anymore. She was leaving. The homeschool curriculum was flexible, designed for students who needed to work or travel. Taylor could do her coursework on the road, on tour buses, in hotel rooms between performances. She'd still graduate, still get her diploma. It just wouldn't be the traditional way. At first, Taylor thought it wouldn't be that different. She'd still have her friends. She'd still be able to do some normal things. It would just be a different schedule. But it was different, more different than she'd expected. By spring of 2007, Taylor was touring regularly. Not huge tours, she was still an opening act for other artists, playing smaller venues, but it meant she was gone a lot. Different cities every few days, living on a tour bus, performing at night, traveling while sleeping, waking up somewhere new. Her friends were still in Hendersonville, going to school every day, seeing each other, living their lives, and Taylor was watching it happen from a distance. Social media was just becoming a thing. Facebook was popular. MySpace, people were posting photos of their lives, of their friend groups, of what they were doing, And Taylor, on her tour bus or in hotel rooms, would scroll through and see what she was missing. Photos of her friends at football games, at someone's house for a party, at the mall. Normal teenage stuff that Taylor used to do and now couldn't. But the hardest part was prom. Prom was in May 2007. Taylor had known for months that she wouldn't be able to go. She was performing that night. A show in a different state, already booked and committed to. There was no way to be in two places at once. Her friends were posting about prom for weeks leading up to it. Dress shopping photos. Who are you going with? Speculation. Plans for pre-prom pictures and after parties. It was all anyone was talking about. Taylor tried to be excited for them, commented on their photos, asked about their dresses, but inside she felt this ache, this sadness about missing something she'd never get back. Prom night arrived. Taylor was in her dressing room before a show, getting ready to perform. Her phone was blowing up with photos, her friends in their dresses, looking beautiful, smiling with their dates, group photos, the gym decorated with lights and streamers, everyone having the time of their lives. Taylor scrolled through the photos and she started crying. Not dramatic sobbing, just quiet tears that she wiped away before anyone could see, because she was supposed to be there. This was supposed to be her night too, but instead she was in a different state, about to perform for strangers. Her mum found her like that, sitting alone, looking at prom photos on her phone. "You okay, sweetie?" Andrea asked. Taylor nodded, but more tears came. I'm missing everything. They're all having this perfect night, and I'm not there." Andrea sat down next to her. "Do you regret your choice?" Taylor thought about it. "No, I want this career. I want to be doing this, but I didn't realize how much it would hurt to miss things." "You can have both," Andrea said gently, "just not at the same time." But that was the problem. You can't have both. Not really. Taylor was 17, and she was making choices that meant giving up experiences other 17-year-olds got to have, and you can't get those back. Once prom is over, it's over. You don't get a do-over. Taylor performed that night, and she was professional and good, and gave the audience what they came for. But a part of her was somewhere else, at a high school gym in Tennessee, wearing a dress she never bought, dancing to songs with friends who were living a life she'd chosen to leave. The weeks after prom were strange. Her friends posted more photos, talked about the night, relived the memories, and Taylor smiled and liked the posts and pretended it didn't hurt. But it did, not in a jealous way, just in a sad, wistful way. That was supposed to be Me Too way. Then came graduation. Graduation was set for early June 2007. Taylor would technically be graduating. She'd finished her homeschool coursework, met all the requirements, earned her diploma. But there wasn't going to be a ceremony for her. Homeschool students didn't walk across a stage. They just got their diploma in the mail. Taylor's friends were excited about graduation. It was a big deal. The ceremony, the caps and gowns, hearing your name called, walking across the stage while your family cheered. It was the culmination of 13 years of school, the official transition into adulthood. Taylor wasn't going to get that. More than that, she couldn't even attend her friend's graduation as a spectator. She was performing that day, already booked, already committed. She'd be in a completely different state when her classmates graduated. When graduation day came, Taylor's friends posted photos in their caps and gowns, videos of them walking across the stage, pictures with their families, holding diplomas, throwing their caps in the air, all the traditional graduation moments. Taylor was on a tour bus. She saw the photos and videos, watched her friends experience something she'd never experienced, another milestone she'd traded for her career. A week later, an envelope arrived. Taylor's diploma. Just a piece of paper in the mail. No ceremony, no celebration, no family cheering. Just, here's your diploma. You graduated. Taylor held it and tried to feel something. Pride, maybe? Accomplishment. but mostly she just felt sad, because this wasn't how it was supposed to be. This wasn't the big moment. It was just an envelope. Her mom threw a small celebration at home. Cake, a few presents, acknowledgement that she'd finished high school. But it felt hollow, like they were pretending something was special when they all knew it wasn't the same as what her friends had gotten. That night, Taylor was alone in her room, looking at photos of her friend's graduation on Facebook, and she asked herself the question that would stay with her for years. What did I trade? She'd traded prom for a performance in a city she couldn't even remember. She'd traded graduation for a tour bus and another stage. She'd traded being a normal 17-year-old for being a professional musician. Was it worth it? The honest answer was complicated, because yes, she was building a career. Yes, she was living her dream. Yes, she was doing what she'd always wanted to do. But also, she'd missed things she'd never get back. Experiences that define teenage years for most people. Memories she'd never make. Years later, Taylor would talk in interviews about missing prom and graduation. She'd say it was worth it, that she'd made the right choice, that she didn't regret it. And that was probably true. On some level, she didn't regret choosing her career. But there was also a part of her, a 17-year-old part, that never got to go to prom or walk across a graduation stage, that wondered what it would have been like, that felt the loss of those experiences. Success comes with a cost. Taylor Swift's cost, at 17, was her normal teenage life. While her peers were making senior year memories, she was on tour buses and stages. While they were taking prom photos and graduation selfies, she was performing for audiences who didn't know she was missing her own milestones. She got her career. She got her dream. She became Taylor Swift, the superstar everyone knows. But she also lost something along the way. She lost being a regular 17-year-old. She lost prom night and graduation day and senior week and all the small, precious moments that make up a normal high school experience. The interesting thing about major life decisions is that you rarely know at the time if you're making the right choice. At 17, Taylor chose her career. She believed it was the right decision. Her parents supported it. Everyone said it made sense. But that didn't make it easy. It didn't erase the sadness of scrolling through prom photos from a tour bus. It didn't make getting a diploma in the mail feel the same as walking across a stage. It didn't fill the hole left by missing experiences she'd never get back. This is the part of Taylor Swift's story that doesn't get told very often. We talk about her success, her albums, her sold-out tours. We celebrate her achievements and her talent and her career. But we don't talk as much about what she gave up to get there. At 17 years old, Taylor Swift sacrificed her senior year. She gave up prom and graduation and being a normal teenager. She made a choice that set her on a path to extraordinary success. But it also meant missing ordinary experiences that most people get to have. And that's the thing about sacrifice. It's permanent. You can't go back and redo your senior year. You can't have prom at 25 or graduation at 30. Those moments exist in a specific time and place, and if you miss them, they're gone. Taylor knows this. She lived it. At 17, she made a choice that changed everything. She got her career, but she also lost something she'll never get back. So when you hear Love Story, or You Belong With Me, or any of the songs that made Taylor Swift famous during those years, remember, while you were listening to those songs at your prom or graduation or senior year parties, Taylor was performing them somewhere else, missing the same moments she was soundtracking for everyone else. She chose her dream over normalcy, her career over high school milestones, the stage over the dance floor, and in doing so, she became Taylor Swift. But she also stopped being just Taylor, the 17-year-old girl who wanted to go to prom with her friends. That girl stayed 17 forever, frozen in time, holding a diploma that came in the mail, wondering what could have been. The superstar moved forward, but the teenager was left behind. Was it worth it? Only Taylor can answer that. But the question itself tells you something important. Even when you get everything you wanted, there's still a cost. Even when you make the right choice, there's still something lost. At 17, Taylor Swift traded her teenage years for her career. She got stages and tour buses and eventually stadiums, but she also got a diploma in an envelope instead of a ceremony, photos of prom on her phone instead of memories of her own, and a question that would follow her forever: what did I trade? The answer was everything that normal 17-year-olds get to have, and everything that Taylor Swift became instead. Both are true, both matter, and neither one erases the other. That's what makes the story complicated. That's what makes it real. That's what makes it worth telling. Because somewhere out there, there's another 17-year-old facing a similar choice, and they need to know success has a cost. Dreams require sacrifice, and sometimes you give up the experiences everyone else has in order to achieve something nobody else does. Taylor made that trade, and the world got Taylor Swift, the superstar. But Taylor lost Taylor, the girl who just wanted to go to prom.